I've had the Rivian for 40,000 miles so far, about a year and a half, a little bit over a year and a half. I want to give you guys a general rundown of the wear and tear over the past 40,000 miles. That way you can kind of see how it holds up to, I don't want to call it use and abuse, but I use this truck. I didn't baby it. I went off-roading. I use it for my business. I've hauled things. I pretty much, and I have two big dogs that I throw in the back seat. I'll show you some things that I did to mitigate the wear and tear on the seats too. You'll actually like this one, so let's go check it out. But first, puppy tax. Hi. So let's go ahead and look at the outside, starting with the front, and we'll make our way to the back, and we'll look at the bed of the truck and everything like that too. So in the front, as you can tell, I am missing one of those. I think one of the mud puddles took it out. That's okay. But on the front here, there's not as much damage per se. Like, there's a lot of dead bugs. Oh, I think that one might be alive. Okay, I'm just gonna let him live. But the entire vehicle is wrapped in PPF to include the lights and light bar, which is nice. Now, I actually had it repaired because I got too close to my charger and it wrinkled it up right here. But it still protected that's disgusting. But it still protected the light itself. Now, let's go over here, speaking of the PPF, and this is, I guess you could call it some trail damage. If it wasn't for the PPF, that would have went straight to the paint, and that would have been a bad day because I would have had to repaint it, and typically it wouldn't just be that little spot. I would have to repaint the entire fender, and that's where it can start getting costly. Another thing too, over here, the rock sliders have protected for whenever I've gone off-road. I've done some scrapes and everything like that, but I did scrape this on a cone of all things. Crazy, right? It was supposed to be soft plastic, but apparently it wasn't. Let's keep walking around. Besides that, everything has been holding up quite well. Back here on the PPF, we have a little bit more scratches. I can't really, here we go, right here. Because whenever it opened up, something happened and something was like right in front of it, whenever it opened up, and it did this. Easily to be replaced with another piece of PPF, a little thin piece of PPF right here. Remember, PPF is paint protection film. So, still walking around. Usually, actually, this is actually pretty clean in comparison to what I normally keep it. Usually there is a lot of mud on this thing, as you can tell, just from here. That's buildup just from driving. Now, I will say, what this vehicle could benefit from is some better mud flaps up here, because all right here, all the water, all the mud just comes through here and just full sends all the way back here, which is another thing too. I've had dents on the other side because of rocks being tossed up. I think that could have been like a little miss, but even with the mud flaps, the rock somehow, some way, travels all the way to the back and makes a dent. Now, let's also talk about the tires. The tires have been great. Now remember, these Falkens were given to me by Falken to test out, but I will be buying another set with my own money, so you don't have to worry about any kind of bias or anything, because I do love these tires. We're about 25,000 miles on it, and last I checked, it was 15 out of 15 out of 30 seconds. 30 seconds. There we go. But overall, with as much off-roading that I do, going through trees and stuff, there's not many scratches on it, and I have to thank the PPF for that. I think another thing too, we're going to talk about back to the tires again. They've just been doing quite well. Yeah, I lose some range. So with these tires, I'm averaging about, in the spring and fall time, about 2.0. Summer is a little bit worse at about 1.9 to 1.85, just because I have the AC on, and in the winter it just drops. Okay, so we're not even going to talk about winter battery life, okay? So let's move to the frunk, because that's where I throw in a lot of my recovery gear, a lot of my camping gear, camera gear, a little bit of everything, you know? And I don't baby it either. So this is what it would look like if you just kept throwing stuff in there. And you're probably like, this is a very expensive car. Why are you doing that to this? So here we go. Overall, not too bad. I mean, I can use some vacuum in here. But if you look at the plastic back here, a little bit of scuffs here and there. The lights still work. Over here is some more scuffs, but some of that could just rub off. So it could just be powdery substance. I don't know. It's not, I promise I'm not a mule. Let's check underneath. So this locks up to there, which is nice. Still locks like a good magnet. Now, dirt has gone down here from everything that I've carried. The charger has come in handy many times. So say like if I'm out camping and say I go to an RV park to camp that night or just a campground, I can actually plug in. Now you want to check with a host to make sure that you can, because if it's not updated, it could damage everything, and you don't want that. But newer campsites definitely have the infrastructure to do it, but I think it's Camp America or whatever it's called doesn't really allow EV charging. Now just a little bit more scratches and everything like that, but besides that, again, it's a truck. Now let's go look at the bed of the truck. But first, we have a puppy tax right here. Would you look at the puppy? Would you just look at her? She's so good. I love you. Now, typically, I don't have a bed mat or anything like that, and I just throw stuff back here. It looks like a truck bed. There's no deep scratches. There's nothing crazy like that. The plugs over there still work. The air compressor still works over there. Spare tire works well. We had to help someone else out with the spare tire because they didn't have one. I have the manual tonneau cover, but I actually really like it. I know there's cheaper versions. This is actually the Rivian version, but it comes off and goes back in very easily. You can almost do it with one hand. I liked the idea to being able to keep my stuff locked in there if I need to. Like whenever the tailgate is closed, it's locked. Now, can you get in there? Yes, but besides that, we're fine. Now, let's actually talk about this tent and the crossbars. Now, I know the tent isn't part of Rivian, but if you look, it's the same color. I did color match it. That was a little specialness of myself right there, but I did. It looks great, but we did upgrade the locks from a 2.0 lock to a 3.0 lock. Before, the lock was up here, and now it's down here hooking like this, which is nice. But the crossbars, amazing. I could take off the entire tent with the crossbars still on and just set it down wherever I need to. Now, what would be kind of cool is if I can like mount it on something and it would be just hanging there. The thing that is an issue that they're probably going to fix someday soon is that camera, for whatever reason, just doesn't work. It's white. Not that I'm able to see anything because I have this tent in the way, but the bed camera is actually one of the best cameras. Now let's talk about the cameras too. So the cameras, even with a little bit of grime on them, still show relatively well. This is a first gen quad motor, so we don't have the upgraded 4K cameras. But let me see if I can. This is the back. A little grimy. It's fine. Everything is good. But I wouldn't mind those upgraded cameras. Now watch this. It says software reset. I don't know if that would actually help. Let's actually do a software reset. I need to do a software reset real quick. So let's go ahead and check out how to do it. So this is just a soft reset. You don't want to do resets unless your car tells you or Rivian employee tells you to do it. Because if you do a hard reset, it could mess up everything and drop the logs so that they can't see what is wrong with your vehicle. So you just hold the outside two buttons right here. Keep holding until it tells you to stop. And now it turns off. And so it should be starting up any second now. Sorry, someone's in my yard. Well, not in my yard, but there we go. So that took about 45 seconds for it to do a restart. I just did the fresh update last night, the 43. So this right here is what it looked like whenever it froze up for me last year. Whenever there was a bad update, all I had was this and the speedometer right there. Everything else was just black. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't even get a hold of my HVAC system, which was kind of sad. Oh, sorry, a little gangster moment. Let's go back here. We're gonna click this. It's still all uploading right now. I guess my driveway is a 7% angle. Nice. So let's see if this actually fixed it. Nope. So not too sure what's going on there. They may have to just replace the whole camera because I've done several resets before. Now, one thing I kind of want to give a shout out to is these all-weather mats from Rivian themselves. I love them. Like, it keeps the mud in, even though, you know, sometimes your feet get back there. But overall use and abuse of it, they've stood up to a lot of stuff that I've been putting it through. A lot of dirt, a lot of grime, a lot of sand. Let's go take a look at the other side. I just had this detailed like 2 weeks ago. It was a lot worse than what it is right now. But this is a full year of use and abuse, and it is amazing. Like, there's nothing wrong with them. Besides a little bit of dirt, take it out, wash it off, and you'll be good to go. Everything is hunky-dory. Over here, like my foot might have caught this right here and caused it to rip. Now, an upholstery guy can easily fix that. They basically just heat it up, put some glue on there, heat it up, and then a little bit of paint, and then it's good to go like new. But I don't know how I feel about this stuff down here. It should just be plastic and not like this textured plastic. I don't think it's the same as the leather, but it's still not as durable. On the other side too, I have the same kind of issue. Now, let's take a look at the seats. I'm a fluffy individual, so sometimes, and I'm short, so it takes a little for me to get in and out of a vehicle. So I might slide in and out of my vehicle sometimes. That being said, let's see what it looks like down where my butt goes. I'm seeing a whole lot worse in other manufacturers, especially, I mean, yes, this is still a newer vehicle, but this is 40,000 miles of me getting in and out of there. It's still quality. Everything is still holding up. My head hasn't put an indentation in it or anything like that. Same with the passenger seat. We did have an issue though with the heated seat a couple of weeks ago. The plug that was underneath that, you know, powers the heated seat was a loose seating. So they had to just plug it in. I didn't know. I couldn't find the plug, so that's the reason why I made the service ticket. But besides that, it's good to go. Now, when I originally got it, the seat was misaligned and it did a lot of squeaking. And then the back speaker, the back door speaker, was actually not put on correctly. So any kind of bass music that was happening did shake a lot, and it just didn't sound good. I was actually given a lot of crap saying it's a truck, it should shake. Not that much. I used to have a Tacoma and I used to have an old Dodge, and those didn't shake as much as what these did. But the headliner and everything is still minty fresh. The glass is great. Not that I do anything crazy to it, but the inside, one complaint that I kind of have about the inside, it collects dust like no other. And so if you're a dusty individual like myself, like running around with the windows down while you're on the forest roads and everything like that, you're going to collect dust. That's why I keep my little towel down there for easy cleaning. Now, another thing too that's really nice is this cup holder. It worked out very well for me. I haven't had a need to replace it or anything, but one thing that did kind of go bad on me was the camp speaker. It kept doing a loose connection, and so it would restart all the time, and that it just wasn't good. So I just went ahead and just removed it. Let's look inside where our one little compartment that we have. Now, I do have a safe in here. This thing isn't that great. I can only fit my smaller pistol in there and not my regular everyday carry pistol. So I kind of wish I got the bigger one. There is a bigger one that is out there, not by this company though. Console vault is amazing. I think they just missed the mark with this. I don't even think I can resell this. SSD, this has been a champ. Got it at Costco. I think it was SSD and a thumb drive and a few other things that I got together. And I think this is a 1 or 2 terabyte hard drive. So when we have gear guard events, it will show everything. So this is my drive cams all the way from last year. Incidences, you know, just me going through the puddles and stuff like that. Apparently this is an incident to them. But here, as you can tell, I am not babying my vehicle. Like, see what I mean by the side? It's usually covered with mud. And then coming down the trail. This was a pretty steep angle too, but let's look at this one real quick. Yeah, so I use this vehicle for what it's worth, you know, what it's used for. I've gone up to water, you know, good 30 inches deep, and everything has been completely fine. This does open and close fine. My arm is always on it. If you look, there's not much wear and tear on it. No wrinkling, no kinkling. I'm not kink shaming, but there's none of that right here. So it has been going well. Let's take a look at the back. All right, as for the back of the vehicle, this doggy hammock has been amazing. I need to adjust it a little bit because over the time it does sag just a little bit. So if all I have to do is up here adjust the clips, make them a little bit more tight, and then everything will be nice and neat. This is where the dogs go. It is a nice actual shelf to where I can put my Falken case on here. But overall, it's really good with like keeping drool, keeping hair, and everything inside of the vehicle while I needed to. Hey, puppy tax. They're not about you, okay? You hear me? They're not about you. Now, sometimes my dogs do hang out the window. I know they probably should be buckled up, but they're not. But if you look, the window goes down as far as it does, and their paws are always up here or always up here, and there is no damage to them. Good job. Let's go ahead and take this thing off so that we can actually look at the seat. But I love this thing. You can easily take it in, put it in, take it out as needed. I typically leave it in all times. 1, to protect the investment, and 2, I don't have backseat passengers. My backseat passengers have 4 feet. So you just fold this in like this. It's easier if you just take it out and fold it. Hey, now if we're underneath the seat, It's weird because I guess it's just dirt and everything. But this is just where I keep, it sounds funny, but it's the dog's electric blanket. Whenever she gets cold often. You guys be nice to people. Why you always gotta be arguing? So if you ever get any kind of grime or anything in there, you could just take this out and pull it up and everything and wash it out if you need to. Some people didn't know about this. If you pull this down, you got cup holders, but you also have a little cubby hole that will block the back. But this allows you to get back here into your gear slide area. So say like if you have a, what do you call that? If you have an ice chest back there, you can just open this up and reach right in for your ice chest. Yeah, nice. But the screen still good back here, even with the dogs crawling around. Back in the headliner, everything looks good too. Haven't had much issues back here. We might have a little bit of scuff right here from the dongs. That's just dirt. But yes, everything works back here, including the power. I actually plug my fridge and it goes over there so that I can have, you know, food and everything for whenever I go camping. This is what I meant by those little dents. I just don't know. But let's open up the gear tunnel. I have the camp kitchen from Thunderbolt Adventure Supply. I actually don't have everything in there right now for the simple fact I needed some more room to carry some stuff, and it's nice because it's modular. But then, what do you call that? Words are fucking hard. The legs of them actually broke off. They did send me some new legs. I actually got to find it before I get a chance to even resell this thing. But yeah, as for down here, this is probably the next most recent or next biggest thing that I use all the time, and that is my air pump, because I'm always off-roading and bringing the air pressure up and down, but goes right in there. It's actually real nice. Just take that and lock it, right? And then shut. Another accessory that I did buy, which I love, is the field kit. It's a little pricey in comparison to some, but it still works. Down here in the weather stripping, you can see a little deformation from maybe my feet coming out, but, you know, sliding in, sliding out. But overall, it's still pretty good. The one thing that they did replace on one of my last service visits was this. So back here, to include on the other side, was just popping up. I don't know if I actually have video of it, but if I find it, I will show you guys. One last puppy tax before the end. But overall, this vehicle has been very good to me. I've had, you know, some things that did break. I will link the video to the different reviews of everything breaking and how they actually fixed it. And I'll also put it in the comments down below so that, or in the description down below so that you guys can go back and watch. It has its issues, but I think after Rivian has taken care of all those issues, it has been a very, very good truck. Now it's time for me to bring it back to stock. I got to take off the rock sliders, I got to take out the camp kitchen, and take off the tent. Why, you might ask? It's because I have my Tri-Motor coming on Friday. Yeah, we're going to do some special stuff with the Tri-Motor too. Super excited for you guys to see that. I'll do a walkthrough of actually what it was like to pick it up and use my checklist that I had from prior so that you're able to follow along with me and do the checklist with me with my own personal new vehicle. It's black on black. Oh my goodness. Super excited to see it. We're definitely going to need to wrap it, and I do have some pretty cool, interesting things that I'm going to be doing with this vehicle specifically, of the Tri-Motor that I'm picking up. So again, thank you guys very much for hanging out. So you guys have a great day. Hopefully your Thanksgiving is great also.